Okay, I have no lighting. It's fine. Okay, so don't know why I never thought of doing this, but I just thought it was a genius idea that Rachel Masky had when she kind of showed me this whole new world of thrifting fabric. There's a whole bunch of fabric there. Genius idea, because fabric is very expensive when you go to places like Joann's. So I found this really pretty fabric from the thrift store for like $2. It was amazing. And immediately thought, holiday dress. Because it's this like really pretty green, it has a really nice pattern to it. So, holiday dress. Now I don't have an actual pattern for my dress that I want to make, but I have a dress that I would like to copy because the top bodice part is really cute. I should have zipped it up beforehand. But this top part is really cute. I want to make the skirt dress part of it a little bit more flowy because this is not super flowy. So I'm going to take this and make a pattern and pray for the best because I don't do mock-ups and we're just gonna wing it. Welcome to my kitchen. I am going to be using newsprint paper to draw everything on, only because it's a pretty easy, cheap paper that I could get my hands on, and I have like a huge stash of it, so yay! I'm going to be like essentially just drawing every single section of the top part of this dress, and it looks like there are there are like 6 sections of this dress. Now I wish I could unbutton this front part, but I have just now realized that the buttons are actually sewn all the way through. Pretty genius, I'm not gonna lie.
The way that I'm going to draw out the pattern of my dress is by tracing the outside of each section for the dress. I use one hand to make sure I have the dress laid out flat, and I use the other hand to trace the edge with my pencil. I also mark down where each side ends so that I can make sure it all aligns. This is me realizing the pattern has 4 pieces on the inside lining and 6 on the outside fabric. So definitely check before you start drawing like I did.
I can just start on this side. That's fine.
And now you can watch me struggle as I try to lay it flat to trace, and take a while to realize that there is a much easier way of doing it.
I should pull this dress inside out. That would make it easier. Oh, genius. Okay.
After I have all my pattern pieces drawn, I will add about 1 inch around just in case I need extra space in some areas. It is safer to make it a little bigger than you think when you don't have a set pattern or are unsure of how things will look. In my case, I at least have a dress I am getting my pattern from, so there isn't as much guesswork involved. And now I'm cutting them out and labeling them in order.
So I wanted to give you a close-up of what my pattern ended up looking like. Essentially this. Okay, so now that I have all the pieces cut out, I can if they don't fly away. Okay, so I have pre-washed the cloth. I want to use as little fabric as possible to pin these.
Make sure you check your fabric because each side can look different, and lay out your pattern pieces to that preferred side. I had checked this before pinning it to make sure that all my pieces would be facing the correct side. I cannot stress this enough.
I don't even know what fell, but we'll find out.
I will be skipping most of me cutting the fabric since I don't currently own fabric scissors, and some people might not appreciate that, so I apologize in advance.
Now all of my pieces are cut out.
Watch my last 10 brain cells try to put the pattern pieces in the correct order, and like I mentioned before, I did label them, but for some reason I couldn't comprehend what order I put them in.
It's fine.
And now begins the long process of pinning. I'm doing this quickly right now just to see if everything fits together nicely and where I need to adjust. I'm definitely not trying to overthink it, but failing. Disclaimer, I do not recommend trying anything on with pins on it. At this point, I no longer fear getting stabbed by a pin, but it looks nice and it's ready for sewing. Because I don't have enough pins to keep the edges of my fabric down to sew on my sewing machine, I do a simple running stitch so that I don't have any issues while I sew it through my machine. Quick story time while you watch me sew. My mom sewed a lot of clothing for her dolls growing up on my great-grandmother's Singer sewing machine with a table and pedal. My grandfather still actually has it, which is pretty cool. When I started sewing, she gave me the tip to pin your fabric perpendicular to the machine needle so it wouldn't hit the pins. Unfortunately for me, I don't have the best luck, and if something can go wrong, it will. And I have on multiple occasions bent my pins from hitting the machine needle so many times. Something that has apparently never happened to my mom. I even did what she called the impossible, which was bending my machine needle from hitting one too many pins. Luckily it didn't break, and let's hope it never does. But moral of the story, sewing is deadly, and definitely be careful. Laying the top of my dress flat, you can see that the bottom part isn't perfectly straight. It doesn't bother me too much because it won't be seen, but keep in mind that these things can be adjusted.
So I woke up and this is what my hair decided to do. We're just gonna let this happen. I have too many other things I want to do. The first thing that I'm gonna do is write and figure out the measurements for the skirt. I'm thinking of doing probably like a quarter of a circle skirt just because it'll give me some swoosh, but it won't be like really big and really, I don't know, I feel like because it's already really green, that's enough. We'll see. Okay, so quarter skirt. Now I just straight up Googled the formula for it, and I got waist measurement times 4 inches divided by 6.28, and this is going to be the radius. This is going to all be in inches, apparently. So if you do centimeters, my bad, but this is going to be what it's going to be for inches. So my waist is at 25 inches, about, times 4 divided by 6.28, which is the 15.92 inches. Hopefully this works. If not, I'm gonna be sad. We're going to measure out, what was it, 15.6, about there. I don't have anything to mark there. Ah, you thought you could guess me? Just kidding. Okay.
I apologize that it is so dark. I think my camera was having a hard time adjusting to the light in this particular spot. All I'm doing is just marking out the radius length around from the corner and then connecting the dots.
I literally have all of my lights on in my apartment and it's still so dark. So, okay. I'm gonna try to make this skirt as long as I can. I can always make it shorter.
If you have a hard time remembering the length you need to mark, I find it's easier to mark your measuring tape with a washable pen or marker. Also keep in mind that you want to measure using the same 2 spots of the measuring tape. In my case, I use the same corners of the tape. This ensures that everything is at the same length. The 2 spots you choose are your preference, but since I don't have that much room on my floor and I don't want to use the corner of my fabric, I measured out from the radius that I had drawn earlier on the table. To finish, I just connect the dots like I did earlier, just to make sure it's easy for me to cut.
I'm just gonna do some YouTube magic and just switch between frames. So, done. Close enough. Now for the moment of truth. It's long, but like, I did good. This waist measurement, good. Thumbs up. There is room for me to actually fold it over and make the edge look nice, so don't have to worry about that, which is good. And oh, I don't know if that was open, but it's closed now. So I'm obviously not going to do a belt for this skirt because it's just going to be attached to my bodice here. I do want the same side pattern on the outside, so no, that's wrong. Wait, no, okay, so if I want this like this. Yeah, okay. I was right. Wrong. I don't know, at this point.
Sorry again, my camera is now compensating for how dark the fabric is, and now everything is overexposed. But you can really appreciate just how pretty the pattern is on this fabric while I pin everything down. You can also now see the difference on each side of my fabric. The inside will have flowers that are shimmery green, and the outside has the negative space between the flowers shimmer instead. Personally, I like that side better for this dress.
Yeah, that is what I wanted. That's it. Alright. I'm going to just drape it on myself and see how it looks. I'm going to just like drape it onto myself and see how it looks. My camera is shaking. Looks good. Ow! I totally just broke myself. Looks good so far. Okay. Oh, that is attached to my shirt. So like what I did earlier, I am going to hand sew and then machine sew the rest of my dress. I don't feel the need to show all of that. It's pretty repetitive. So just know that's what I did. Okay, so I got it all stitched up together. I put the buttons on. I added some straps. Now what I did for the straps actually is I pretty much just took like one of the edges of the material and just like cut it out because it's already stitched up for me. So I just cut along the edge and just used that for the straps because work smarter, not harder. And then I hemmed the skirt. I added a zipper on the back. So it's pretty much all done, but the last and most important thing to add to this is pockets. And I will be using kind of this shape to it. Something that I had seen in a video by Bernadette Banner and also Cathy is that you want to have this like top piece up here so that it adds all the weight from the pocket onto the like this middle part of the skirt that is the kind of like waist part, and that's just so it holds the weight better, which I think is really smart. So I will be using that pattern. Now I know it says that you can download it and print it out for free, but like my printer doesn't work, so I'm just going to draw it myself and add them on. Now, not that I'm going to be putting my wallet into the pocket, but I would like a pocket that could potentially fit my wallet or the amount of stuff that fits my wallet. This is a pretty big wallet, so I doubt that I'll be able to stick my wallet into the pocket and not have it look weird, but this is kind of the size that I want. It's a pretty big pocket, and it's kind of what I want.
First, I will trace the shape for the pocket with my wallet on the paper and make adjustments and see what it looks like without my wallet. I put my wallet back just to make sure I liked the size. Again, I want to make this pocket very big to hold a lot of stuff. I'm checking if I can use the extra corners that were unused to cut out my pattern, since I will need 4 of them, and it looks like I have enough.
I put the 2 pieces of the pockets together, sewed them, and I have pinned them to where I want them. Now the rational person would have used a different type of skirt, but because I did a quarter skirt, I don't have an actual hemline that I can just easily attach this to, so I'm going to actually have to create my own hemline so that I can actually put the pocket in, which isn't a big deal. I just have to cut this part, which is fine, and then just open it up. As you can see, I have it pinned up to the actual like waist hem part. That's just so, again, when the pocket has things held in it, it's not putting all the weight on the skirt, it's putting the weight on the this part here, which is heavier and more sewn, which is good. It'll help reinforce it.
Witness my last brain cells trying to figure out how to pin pockets onto my dress. I don't know why this was such a struggle, because I had watched videos and read how to do it, but clearly reading and watching is very different from actually doing it. Eventually I figured it out, and it only took about an hour. First, I want to show you the dress that inspired it all really quickly, just so you have something to compare my results to. I love the giant pockets and the swoosh of the skirt, even though you can't tell because of how windy it is. The floor-length skirt is beautiful. I love the pattern and just how dark green this dress really is. And since this is a winter holiday dress, I can easily pair it with this cute white undershirt to keep my arms warm.
So I love the way that my dress came out. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love the way that it fits me. I love the pockets. They do look a little wonky. It now makes sense why people have a different type of skirt for pockets, because you can easily put them into the hem. That makes sense. There are definitely some adjustments that I have to make. This strap kind of keeps moving around and falling, so I have to adjust this strap. I also want to take this moment to thank Rachel Masky, Bernadette and Cathy, because the 3 of them, without knowing, helped inspire me to not only go to the thrift store to buy fabric, but also help in some of the tips that I got from sewing. Sorry, I keep looking up because I can see this dress and it is so cute. I love it. This is absolutely perfect for a holiday dress. I am so happy with how it turned out, and I'm going to get out of this long sleeve shirt because it is the middle of summer. I am hot, and honestly, it really doesn't get that cold in Florida, but this is perfect. I hope you enjoyed watching me sew as much as I enjoyed sewing, and I hope to see you in my next video. This is gonna be slightly tricky just because of the boob, which is fine. Okay. Where'd all my pins go? These are all needles. Why is it so dark? Why is it so bright? Now that I have the waist measurements, I have learned my lesson on sewing right before bed. I was wondering why this strap was like loose, and then I realized I put it here instead of back here. And then also I realized when I flipped it up to get it off of my bed, I did not sew this middle button. So it just flung into the air. And I didn't even realize, but I found the button. underneath my bed.